Like most people born in the 90s, Pokemon was a colossal part of my childhood. From watching the anime to endlessly replaying the games that started it all, I was a real-life pokenerd. But all great things must come to an end, and for me, that was with Generation 4. I played the first 3 generations religiously, but never owned a Nintendo DS and therefore never had the ability to play Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum. But I finally decided to right that wrong. And at the ripe age of 30, it's time to jump into what people say is the best way to experience the Sinnoh region. It's time to play through Pokemon Platinum for the first time. I don't know why, but for some reason I always felt the need to play the games as if it were the anime. I named my character Ash, my rival Barry, and wouldn't dare nickname any of my Pokemon. Although I'm not sure why my character isn't from Pallet Town. We run off with Barry, meet the local Professor Rowan, and choose our first Pokemon. I went with Chimchar because even though I've never watched this season of the anime, I know Ash had one. This has to be the nerdiest way to play Pokemon. Barry chooses Piplup to try and counter me, but I smoke that ass anyway. I stop home to tell my mom I love her, and we're off on our Pokemon journey to explore the Sinnoh region, win 8 badges, and become the Pokemon League champion. We get our first Pokeballs and capture an HM slave on our way to Jubilife City, where we meet a mysterious man who's cosplaying as the International Police. We add another cannon Pokemon to Ash's collection on our way to the next town, before getting jumped by Barry. Fortunately, Piplup still doesn't have a water move, and we again make quick work of our rival. We arrive at Oreburgh City and challenge the first gym leader. Unfortunately, this was our first real challenge. Not sure if it's just because I'm bad at Pokemon, but I lost this fight 6 times and didn't finally win until Chimchar was at level 21, and I still barely scraped by with 1 HP. Hopefully, the rest of the game won't be this tough. Now we can use Rock Smash out of battle. Time for our HM slave to start earning his keep. We end up back in Jubilife City and Mr. Worldwide tries grooming me again. Dude, leave me alone. We run away from the stranger danger and end up in our first double battle against Team Galactic. But where's Jesse, James, and Meowth? We sent Team Galactic blasting off and then tried taking on their wider operation at Valley Windworks. Starly evolves and we meet one of the Galactic commanders, Mars. We spank that ass, kick out Team Galactic, and Looker shows up to do nothing yet again. I feel like I'm being followed. I slather some honey on a tree, and as I'm writing this, I realize I never followed up to see if it attracted any Pokemon. So I guess that's 2 thumbs down on this new Gen 4 mechanic from me. I finally let Chimchar evolve at level 23 after learning Nasty Plot and head through Eterna Forest. Damn, someone smoked out this entire forest? Jesus, Game Freak, this is a kid's game. Luckily, Cheryl leads us through the haze and we make it to Eterna City, where we meet Cynthia. She gives us cut and runs out of our life, never to be seen again. Probably. We challenge the Eterna City Grass Gym, which is a cakewalk for Monferno, and we officially have our second badge. Before leaving Eterna City, we enter another Team Galactic base, find Looker playing dress up again, and obliterate another Team Galactic commander, Jupiter. What is Skunktank doing to my beloved Pokemon? Oh, look who's back. And she gave me an egg. I was hoping this was the rumored Riolu egg so I could get my first Lucario. But it was just a Togepi. We got a bike and hit up Cycling Road on the way to the next city. We run into the guy from the lake who spills out some philosophical thoughts. Hey man, you wanna battle Pokemon? No? Well, see you later. We finally make it to Hearthome City where we're introduced to Pokemon contests. I've tried these in Gen 3 but never really learned how they work. I go right to the gym but the leader is at the contest hall, and while trying to find her I accidentally enter the contest. I sorta just randomly picked things and ended up winning my first ever Pokemon contest. Hell yeah, Monferno! Just like the anime, Ash always wins the random side quests. So I actually talked to the gym leader this time, and now we can take her on for our 3rd badge. Unfortunately, Fantina is a ghost trainer, so we have to deal with an annoying amount of confusion and being put to sleep. We have a minor hiccup, but on our 2nd attempt Monferno clutches up and we earn the Relic badge. We give Barry another beatdown, and a nice old fisherman gives us the good rod so I can catch the most notoriously bad Pokemon in existence. Growing up, I never had the patience to level a Magikarp up enough to evolve, but catching it at level 19 made it much more tolerable. We work our way through Route 209, learn the alphabet in the Silesian ruins, and finally arrive in Veilstone City. We make quick work of Maylene using our newly evolved Togetic alongside Staravia, and the Cobble badge is now ours. Halfway to the Pokemon League. We help Dawn bully some galactic grunts, and Looker shows up for nothing after the situation has already been handled yet again. Next up, we run off to Pastoria, and Barry barges in for a rematch before I can make my way into the gym. I guess the joke's on me because he actually beats me for the first time. But luckily, I'm the main character, and I can get my revenge on the second try. Monferno evolves into Infernape while working through the gym trainers, but it wasn't enough for a first try victory against Big Wake. I lost quite a few times to Wake, but ended up resetting after each loss. I felt like it was a winnable fight, I just needed to figure out which Pokemon I needed to use against his. My Gyarados won the honor battle against his Gyarados with a few Dragon Rages, Roselia handled Quagsire, and after a potion, Gyarados weakened Floatzel so that Infernape could close out the battle to earn us the Fen badge. We learn that Team Galactic are actual terrorists as they set off a bomb, and typical Looker just stands there as the suspect gets away. Don't worry, bud, I'll handle it. I battle the grunt, and just as I'm about to catch him, Cynthia shows up to give me medicine for the Psyduck on Route 210. Can we do this another time? I'm kinda busy. Oh, well, I guess the terrorist just escaped then. Guess I'll go give the Psyduck some Advil. I go deliver an item to Cynthia's grandmom, not sure why I have to do it. I mean, I'm sure she'd love to see you, Cynthia. I arrive in Celestic Town, take out the galactic grunt guarding the door, and Cynthia's grandmother shows up to show us the ruins. She explains the paintings are of 3 lake guardians that kept balance with one another. Yeah, whatever you say, old lady. But then Cyrus shows up, revealing himself as a leader of Team Galactic and wants to destroy the paintings. Don't you have something better to do? We save the cave paintings by beating Cyrus in a Pokemon battle and are rewarded with the HM Surf. Cynthia shows up after we save the day just to tell us to check out a library. Joke's on you, I can't read. And then seemingly doesn't even visit her grandmom. Where are your family values, Cynthia? We catch a ride on Gyarados over to Canalave City and get ambushed by Barry yet again. I guess I opted not to use my only ice move against a Staraptor because I'm really good at Pokemon. But Gyarados perseveres anyway. We let Infernape and Staraptor get in on the action as well as we teach Barry another lesson. Maybe now he'll stop jumping me in every single city. After a nice warm up, I waltz right into the Canalave gym and burn that steel factory down. It's always nice when your best Pokemon can just run through an entire gym. We now have the Mine badge and are just 2 gyms away from the Pokemon League. But before I can do that, Barry drags me to the library. I already told you, I can't read. Leave me alone. We meet up with Dawn, Barry, and Professor Rowan in the lib, and mid-conversation, Team Galactic sets off another bomb at Lake Valor. This is obviously a critical terroristic threat that needs to be attended to immediately. So naturally I go on a side quest on Iron Island to get the Riolu egg from Riley. I mean, come on, Lucario is one of the most sought after Pokemon, and this is my first chance to ever use one. Saving the world can wait. We also took another pit stop at Fuego Ironworks to pick up the TM for Flamethrower because at level 45 my best fire move is still Ember. Absolutely tragic. We make one more detour because my level 3 HM slave can't learn strength, which is really starting to mess my team up since I'm also hauling around this egg. We finally make it to Lake Valor and challenge the 3rd Galactic Commander, Saturn. After making quick work of him, we have a rematch against Commander Mars at Lake Verity. We beat her down a second time, but unfortunately, we were too late. They already transported the Guardian Pokemon back to Galactic HQ. And now have all 3 Pokemon to move forward with their plan. We still need to make it to Lake Acuity to check on Barry, but we have quite the climb to get there. So you're saying my mom doesn't care at all that I'm hiking through snow up to my waist in a baseball cap and no gloves? and other trainers are just hiding in there waiting for a chance to pounce on me. Okay. We run into Barry, but I can't reach him until we have the 7th badge so we can use rock climb outside of battle. Since I guess you have no intention of helping me up there, huh, Bear? So, time to head to the gym, but on the way our egg finally hatches and we get Riolu. It seems a little late to train up a new Pokemon, but I refuse to go through my first Gen 4 playthrough without getting a chance to use Lucario. So we give him a Soothe Bell and swap Riolu into every trainer battle in the gym to try and level him up as fast as possible. We also reach level 40 with Roselia against the gym trainers, where she learns Petal Dance, and then I use the Shiny Stone to evolve her into Roserade. When I finally reached the gym leader, Candace, I expected Infernape to run right through her. This overconfidence almost resulted in a first try loss. I was switching Riolu in for each battle to get XP, which ended up getting Infernape knocked out. And then I needed to cheese some revives and potions to just narrowly sneak by Candace. Now that we can use Rock Climb, I had to fly to the Great Marsh and catch Bidoof's older brother, since my current HM slave can't learn Rock Climb. Sorry Bidoof, but you're no longer useful to me. I appreciate your contributions though. We make it to Lake Acuity, but by that time Barry already lost. Really should've just helped me climb up there, bud. So we fly back to Galactic's Veilstone HQ to finish what Barry couldn't. Looker shows up with a storage key, and Riolu evolves to Lucario at level 34. At least now we can give Lucario XP share and not have to tank additional hits every battle. We listen in on a Team Galactic pep rally explaining how Cyrus wants to tear down and create a new world for his organization. And then we confront him and he admits it's all a lie and he wants the new world all for himself. We beat him in a Pokemon battle, and for some reason, the main villain rewards us with a Master Ball for beating him before running away to continue his master plan. Before chasing him down, we navigate through their science lab and battle Commander Saturn for the right to free the 3 Lake Guardian Pokemon. Apparently Team Galactic didn't need them anymore, but Saturn wouldn't let me release them without a battle. With the Lake Guardians free, we just need to head to the top of Mount Coronet to stop Team Galactic once and for all. Not gonna lie, I struggled mightily trying to get to the top of Mount Coronet. I was googling how to get up there and even watched videos of people doing it. Things like this really frustrate me. And then I just take a step back, remind myself that this is a kid's game, and come to terms that it's probably a skill issue. I didn't notice you could rock climb left here. I only saw the one straight ahead. This is a kid's game. So I finally make it to the top, and Barry and I tag team Commander Mars and Jupiter. But when we finish, Cyrus puts his plan into motion. He uses some sort of red chain anime magic to call forth Dialga and Palkia. He's gonna use them to destroy the world and create a new one. But a dark figure emerges from the Shadow Realm, pulling the Lake Guardians and Cyrus into Distortion World. And as a 10-year-old with no regard for our own life, we jump in with Cynthia to save the world. This place was creepy, with different laws of physics that we're familiar with in the Sinnoh region. To finally confront Cyrus, we had to make our way through this puzzle, and I totally did it all by myself without any outside help. I also lost my first attempt against Cyrus, which made it all the more infuriating that I had to find my way all the way back down there a second time. This time, I saved before the battle and reset when losing to avoid the 10-minute walk back to the end of Distortion World. The biggest issue was trying to get through his Gyarados, since he could one-hit my Infernape with Waterfall and I didn't have anything to counter it. The time I actually beat Cyrus, I got 3 nasty plots off against Houndoom, and then I got a lucky crit to one-hit Gyarados. After that, Infernape had no issue sweeping the rest of his team. Yeah, I used potions to heal Infernape while setting up, and some people might not approve of that, but I'm no Pokemon master. I'm just here to experience Sinnoh for the first time and share my experience. I think it's safe to say you won't be finding any Nuzlockes from me anytime soon. I throw my Master Ball at Giratina and the world is officially saved. Just a day's work for a 10-year-old in the world of Pokemon. Now that that's over, I show up at Sunny Shore City and challenge for my 8th and final badge. Apparently the gym leader is just hanging out at the lighthouse since he's bored of weak trainers challenging him. But we're here to change that. Well, eventually. Electivire was too much for us to handle on our first attempt. After that, I kept resetting when we would lose so I could figure out who would work best against who. Turns out it was Infernape. It's always Infernape. He was able to take everyone out except a weakened Luxray, and then Lucario was able to close it out. We now have the Beacon Badge, which gives us all 8 badges to challenge the Pokemon League. We traverse our way through Victory Road, and it's officially time to become the next champion. Here is our team as we challenge the Elite Four. I was feeling somewhat underleveled, with the bulk of my recent XP going to Lucario since he was a late addition, and Infernape my highest level by far due to always bailing me out. I battled every trainer I could throughout the playthrough, but I didn't do any wild Pokemon grinding. Looking back, the only grinding I did was battling the Orenburg gym over and over as I continuously lost the early game Rock gym with my Fire starter. I did waste a little XP by leveling Togepi up to level 25 before deciding against using Togekiss, but other than that, this is where I ended up by the time I made it to the Elite Four. I also removed my HM slave for Giratina, but I think I deserve the upgrade after suffering through Distortion World. I used all my rare candies on Infernape, and it's time to see if we can make it through the Elite Four. Barry, you always come out of nowhere to ruin what I was doing. We have one last rival battle, and while he put up a decent fight, we have much bigger fish to fry. Aaron was our first battle, but with him being a bug trainer, Infernape had a field day and took out his entire team. Right on to Bertha, a ground type trainer. She put up more of a fight, but was still a first try victory with super effective moves from Gyarados and Roserade. 4 of my Pokemon fell due to be underleveled compared to Bertha, but Giratina was able to close out the battle. Next up we had the Fire Trainer Flint, who was the first to really give me some trouble. But after a couple resets I wiped Houndoom with Infernape, injured his Infernape with Gyarados before finishing it with Giratina, took Flareon out with close combat for my Infernape, utilized Rapidash's own Sunny Day to overpower with a Flare Blitz, and tried the same strategy on Magmortar. That didn't work, but he was weakened enough for Lucario to come in and outspeed and finish Magmortar with a close combat. The final member of the Elite Four is a Psychic type trainer, which did not bode well for Infernape. I lost a few times and kept resetting, but the issue became the fact that I didn't stock up on revives and realized I wouldn't be able to beat the champion after this battle because I wouldn't be able to revive any Pokemon I lost to Lucian. So I decided that after my next loss, I would go back to the start, buy a ton of revives and full restores, and benefit from the additional XP I would get beating the first 3 Elite Four members again. So we make it back to Lucian with Infernape at level 64. We take out Mr. Mime in one hit with Flare Blitz, then switch to Lucario for Espeon. We hit one close combat, and since Espeon outspeeds, we go with Extreme Speed on our second attack before falling to a Shadow Ball. We bring in Infernape to finish Espeon. Lucian uses a full restore, but then I learned that I can also one-hit it with a Flare Blitz. I swap into Giratina to full restore Infernape, and then slowly chip away at Gallade. We both use full restores, and surviving on 4 HP, we take out Gallade with Shadow Force. And then Infernape comes back in to one-hit Bronzong and puts us on to the champion. Cynthia was a tough challenge. I wanted to set up some nasty plots, but Spiritomb was doing a lot of damage with Psychic. And even with one nasty plot, I couldn't one-hit my Milotic, which always led to Infernape falling to Surf. Then my Milotic would take out most of my team. I tried using Gyarados on my Milotic since he's the only one who could take multiple hits, but then sometimes I'd get an unlucky freeze. One time Cynthia switched my Milotic out for Lucario, which was an easy one hit for Infernape and left my Milotic weak enough for me to finish him off in one hit. But then Togekiss would Water Pulse Infernape and I didn't have a good answer for Garchomp. Even after reviving and healing Infernape, Garchomp's Earthquake was too much to handle. Cynthia took me down a ton of times, and after quite a few resets, I thought about leveling up my team by grinding random Pokemon encounters. But after sleeping on it, I was thinking there's probably a ton of people who solo run this game with an Infernape lower than level 65 and will still be able to beat Cynthia. So I just needed to get good. The next day, with a clear mind, I start off by hitting Spiritomb with a Flare Blitz, tanking a Psychic, and finishing it off with a Flamethrower. We bring out Gyarados to do a small amount of damage on my Milotic, hoping Infernape can finish it off. Unfortunately, it barely survives and drops Infernape. We bring in Giratina, but he can't take out my Milotic because of the full restore. And so we revive and heal Infernape while Giratina is just a meat shield. A fully healed Infernape takes out my Milotic with a close combat, and then I switch to Lucario for Togekiss, who gets one attack off before getting sent to the Shadow Realm. I try Staraptor, who is immediately KO'd, before just going with my tried and tested Infernape. We get a crit with Close Combat, which was probably necessary to finish Togekiss in one hit, and then foolishly use a Flamethrower against Garchomp. We outspeed, so I just attack again with Close Combat, and Garchomp misses with a second Dragon Rush, giving Infernape the opening to land another Close Combat and take him out. With Roserade up next, I wanted an Honor Battle. And by Honor Battle, I meant throwing my Roserade out to the wolves so I could heal Infernape. I mean, she was 16 levels lower anyway. It was for a good cause. And then Infernape could one-hit Roserade with Flare Blitz, and then do it one more time against Lucario. And that's how I became the Sinnoh champion. I know most people are probably against me using revives and heals mid-battle, but at the end of the day, I wanted to play this like I was still a kid, just experiencing Sinnoh for the first time. And honestly, I think I did pretty well considering the level of my team as a whole. And I didn't do any wild Pokemon grinding, so I'd call this a win. Overall, I absolutely loved Pokemon Platinum, other than some minor frustrations, and I'm upset I never got a Nintendo DS to play it as a kid. I played tons of the first 3 gens, and also recently played through Gens 8 and 9, but it was just so refreshing to have a new 2D Pokemon experience to enjoy. Gen 4 still had that classic feel that Gen 8 and 9 lost in my opinion when it changed over to a 3D open world. I'm glad I got to play through Pokemon Platinum for the first time and share it with all of you. And if you're still watching at this point in the video, I really appreciate the support. If this is something you'd like to see more of, I'm thinking of moving right into playing Gen 5 for the first time with Pokemon Black or White. We're really hitting the nostalgia strings and playing one of the Gen 2 remakes for the first time with Heart Gold or Soul Silver. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see, and I hope to see you in the next video. Later!